The 3-minute pause is about the heartbeat between your trigger and your reaction, and learning how to stretch that beat just long enough to make a choice instead of immediately falling into chaos. Imagine a life where you meet your relationships, your work, and your world with calm, presence, and clarity. A world where your nervous system isn't constantly threatening to lie down on the floor like a kid having a tantrum in the supermarket aisle. If that sounds nice, and also suspiciously unrealistic, you're in the right place. Each episode is here to help you build emotional resilience from the inside out. Not in the peaceful moments you post on Instagram, but in the real ones, like when your kid screams at you in frequencies only dogs understand. Or when your boss WhatsApps you, quick question at 4:59 p.m., and your nervous system decides it's time to resign. This isn't just a podcast. It's a practice, a place to talk about the real stuff, the grounding moments, the messy moments, and the funny ones that somehow keep us human. Because learning to pause for 3 minutes won't rewrite history, but it will change how you meet it. And honestly, that's the point. There's a subtle loss of ease, the kind you don't notice at first, only after it's gone. Your body feels slightly ahead of you, like it's leaning forward while you're standing still. There's less room inside, less slack, less choice. Everything feels closer and tighter, yet louder without actually being loud. You're not panicked, but you're no longer at rest. Something in you is preparing, watching, holding. You're still functioning, still here, but no longer free. And that shift from spacious to braced happens before you've had time to think. Your emotions have been hijacked by your child's nervous system. One of the most important things I've learned is that carrying their emotions for them without checking whether it's actually helping can make things harder for them later. Stay to the end of the episode and you'll understand and be able to embody the art of true co-regulation. I'm Maniza, your host of the 3-minute pause. I've spent my whole life learning how to stay with what's real. I've sat with my own nervous system when it was trembling, when emotions felt too loud, and when life stopped making sense. 25 years as a psychotherapist and coach have taught me something sacred, that every person I've ever worked with has been one of my teachers. Through this podcast, I honor their lived experience and yours in return. Each week, we examine how dysregulation shows up, sometimes center stage, sometimes lurking in the shadows, but always insisting on being the main character. You'll learn how to listen to what your body is trying to say, so you can show up fully in your life, feeling the hard feelings and living at the same time. The patterns of our childhood follow us all until we learn to let go. I've lost myself more times than I can count, and in that, I learned how to find the pause inside the noise. So, let's begin finding yours. Lately, I've been relearning this in a very real way. My daughter has been moving through a hard season. Big emotions, big anger, and the kind of overwhelm that's completely normal when you're still figuring out how to be in your body and in the world at the same time. Completely developmentally appropriate, deeply inconvenient, and not something that can be scheduled, unfortunately. It all came to a boiling point after a series of outbursts and then one really big emotional explosion. I tried every tool I know: co-regulation, talking, grounding, logic, music, movement. If there was a strategy, I tried it. Some things worked for a few minutes, most didn't. which is always humbling when this is literally your work. You don't need a mirror when your child is holding up one at full volume. Eventually, we were both exhausted. There was nothing left to say. We just looked at each other, the kind of look that says, I don't understand you and you frustrate me. I went for my regulation tool, a cup of tea in my favorite mug. She chose to go into her room and cocoon. I reflected on what had dysregulated me. She's allowed to have her emotions. She's young and learning. So why is her anger my trigger? She's angry, and I'm transported back in time to a place where my emotions were, quote unquote, not allowed. Half an hour of quiet, just books, or maybe just staring at the ceiling. It's really hard to say. But about 30 minutes later, she came out completely different. Calm, soft, herself again. Her regulated self. As if the previous version had never existed and we'd all just imagined it. Parenting is full of these moments where you start to wonder if you hallucinated the chaos. And that's when something clicked for me. Sometimes the most supportive response to dysregulation isn't doing more, it's containment. Her room gave her a physical boundary where those big feelings could land, where her body could settle, where nothing was required of her. No processing, no breakthroughs, no character development. And what surprised me was this. When she regulated, so did I. My shoulders dropped. My breath came back. My body stopped bracing. Apparently, it had been preparing for something dramatic that never actually happened. That night, I slept properly for the first time in weeks, which tells you exactly how much of my nervous system had been quietly on duty. I know some of you might be thinking, of course this affected you. She's your child. And yes, obviously. But I don't think that this is just about parenting. I think this is about proximity, about sharing space, about how deeply we attune to the people we love. When someone close to us is dysregulated, we feel it, even when we're trying to be very evolved about it. We worry, we hold concern, we carry it in our bodies, whether we admit that or not. In parenting, we carry a lot for our children. We do it with love, and we do it while trying to teach them how to regulate themselves, which often looks like whispering, use your tools, while hiding in the pantry with your own unregulated nervous system. If they don't learn how to soothe themselves and move through discomfort, then perfect grades or achievements won't matter. I believe the weight we carry should shift as they grow. And the more we show them how to handle big emotions now, the more ease they'll carry into adulthood. Because if a child never learns how to sit with disappointment here, it becomes much harder to face the disappointment of a job or the rejection that comes with love later on. Life tends to insist on those lessons eventually. We cannot buffer our kids from painful experiences, but we can certainly teach them how to navigate them so that they have a blueprint of what to do when you're not around. If you model compassion, then that is what they will feed themselves with. That's what connection really is. It's the invisible pull between people who care about each other. It doesn't switch off when things get hard, which is both beautiful and wildly inconvenient. In healthy, loving relationships, we show up with compassion, consideration, and vulnerability. Not perfectly, just honestly. And try to give both of you permission to find your own rhythm again, without trying to fix the whole world at the same time. So this week, when your child or your person has big emotions, your job is to help create containment. That means you stay present, you hold the boundary, and you don't escalate with them. You let the feeling exist while showing them it can exist without taking over the room. And you feel your feelings at the same time. It's tricky, I know. You might say very little. You might guide them to space. You might sit with them and hold their hand, or just give them a hug. You don't need to make the feeling go away. You just need to show your child or person how to ride the wave of emotion without being afraid of it. That's co-regulation. Thank you for choosing to be here with me today. If this episode spoke to you, follow the 3-minute pause wherever you listen and leave a short review so we can reach others who are learning to pause too. When you can, go gently. And if you can't go gently, at least go hydrated. And when you're ready to go deeper, together we can bring this work to life through reflections, practices, and conversations. You'll find the show notes and more at monizakimji.com. Because regulation is the new resilience. And 3 minutes really can change everything.